Let's dive into Raven's training so that way we can stay consistent at home. We want to reinforce and reward the behaviors that we want to keep seeing, such as following our commands with either praise, petting, or treats. And then with those behaviors that we don't want to keep seeing, we want to follow through with our training equipment to decrease those behaviors. So let's go over Raven's training equipment. This is her prong collar. I know you guys have already used one. I'm going to go over how to put it on and how to use it just so that we can refresh our memories. So the leash is going to attach to the D-ring that swivels. Then how we take this on and off is we're just going to secure one of the links and push through like so. To put it back together, we're just going to pinch a prong and put it through the holes of the other prong. And how we use this, it's going to be a pop and release motion and not a pull and hold. So say she is in the heel position. Heel means walk next to me on a nice loose leash. Say she's starting to pull ahead. We're going to say no to verbally mark that incorrect behavior that we don't want to see. Give her a pop and then remind her heel. So no, marking that incorrect behavior, pop, heel. And then when she gets back into our space where we want her, we can give her that verbal praise, petting, and treats to let her know that she's doing a good job and she's where we want her. Now let's go over her e-collar, how we turn this on and off. There's a red dot on the collar and a red dot on the remote. Touch these together. The green light flashing means it's on, charged, and ready to go. The remote on and off button on the back. Push and hold until you see the screen light up. You're going to see level 20 appear on the screen. This is going to be Raven's level. Today we're going to focus on the black S button. S just stands for stimulation, so it's kind of like an electric muscle stimulator. So say she's in that heel position and she's starting to pull ahead. We're going to say no, marking that incorrect behavior we don't want to see. Black S button, heel, no, heel. Then when she gets back where we want her, we can obviously reward the behavior that we want to keep seeing. So with these, it depends on the situation that we are in and the level of distraction that Raven has. We may use one of them, we may use both of these. It just depends on the situation that we are in. With the e-collar, this is going to be the first thing that we put on in the morning and the last thing that we take off at night. So that way we always have a form of communication with Raven throughout the day. With the prong collar, she's going to wear this whenever she is on a leash. So she might wear this in the house to set those boundaries at the beginning and then slowly fade away from having the leash and the prong on in the house. So that is her training equipment. So now let's go over her commands. We've already kind of gone over the heel. So with the heel, I suggest about 80 to 90% of a walk should be in the heel position. The other 10 to 20%, you can give her the release word free. Free means she's not in any set command and she can kind of go do her own business and explore on her own. This is her time to enjoy the walk. Then we have sit. Sit is really good for those door manners. So with sit, stay is implied. So if she's in a sit, she can't get up until we give her the release word free or we give her another command. So with this, whenever we approach a door, whether it's inside or outside, we're going to have Raven sit. So that way she doesn't just bolt through the door. As we're opening the door, we can remind Raven to sit so she knows what she is supposed to be doing when we're opening the door. Then we have two options. We can release her through the door with the word free, or we can give her another command like heel and heel through the door with her. So with this, if she does it, great. If not, we're going to follow through with the training equipment because we want to set the same boundaries that we have here at the facility for her at home. So that way we don't have to ask her to sit 7 times or we don't have to keep asking her to stay in that sit. We want to set those boundaries with her so she knows that everything that's at the training facility is going to transfer over at home. Now we have down. Down also means the stay is implied. With the down, we don't want to put her in a down and then release her from a distance because then she's going to get rewarded for coming to us and not staying in that down stay. So with down, wherever we put her, do a distraction or whatever, we're going to go back to her and release her from where she's at. And we're going to reward very low to the ground so she knows the positive zone is low to the ground. So if she stays, great. If not, we're going to follow through with our training equipment. If she does get up, we're going to take her back to roughly the same area that she was in so that way she doesn't kind of win the situation by getting up and coming to a different spot. So if she gets up, we're going to go back to the spot that she was in, put her in a down, do a distraction. If she stays great, we're going to go reward her and release her from where she's at. Now we have place. Place is a boundary stay, ideally on an elevated bed. This is going to be really good for when you have company coming over or when you're eating dinner. So that way she has a place to where she can kind of experience everything that is going on, but she's on a boundary stay, so she's not getting in anybody's way. So whenever you first practice this, I suggest having a leash on her just in case she does decide to get off the place bed. We have a way to kind of guide her back to it if we need to. With this, we also aren't going to release from a distance because then we're going to reward her for coming to us and not staying in that place stay. So when we put her on place, do our distraction or have our company come over, great. We can go back to her and release her from where she's at. And we're going to reward on the bed so she knows the positive zone is the boundary stay that she is on. Then we have come when called. With this, likely when we need her to come back to us, it's going to be whenever she's in that distracted state of mind. So we're going to give her the release word free, let her go get distracted and do whatever she wants to do. Whenever we call her to us, we're going to say come in a loud, firm tone, praise her as she's coming to us. We're going to say good girl, back up to invite her into our space, have her sit, and then give her a reward. We're going to reward this every single time, so that way we create a reward history. This is just doing a command and getting rewarded for it, so that way we build up that getting rewarded for it every single time. It's going to have that positive association with coming to us, so she's going to want to come to us. So with this, I would suggest having a 30 to 50 foot leash on her, so that way if she decides to ignore our command, we do have a way to reel her back in like a fish if we need to. But if she doesn't listen to our command, we're going to follow through with our training equipment. So say she's out there and we ask her to come to us, we're going to say come. If she decides to ignore us, we're going to say no to mark the incorrect behavior we don't want to see. Black S button, come. And then still, as she's coming to us, we're going to reward her, because just because she got a correction out there does not mean she's going to get a correction when she comes to us, because we are always going to be positive. So we're still going to praise her as she's coming to us, have her sit, and then we're still going to get a reward because she still came to us. So that is going to become when called. Now we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. So this is going to be with anything, whether it is food, clothing, anything on the floor that we don't want her to pick up. So if we drop something on the floor and she goes to grab it, we're just going to say leave it. If she does, great. If not, we're going to follow through with the training equipment. Ideally, have a leash on her to begin so that she understands and we can set those boundaries with her if she decides to ignore our command. But we're going to drop it, say leave it. If not, no, follow through, leave it. And then if she does, great. So whenever we have ideally have a leash on her to start out with, so that way if she does not leave it, we have a way to guide her back into a different situation or scenario if we need to. So that is all of Raven's commands and training equipment. So we want to keep increasing and rewarding that behavior that we want to keep seeing. So the sitting, the calm behavior, and then those behaviors that we don't want to see, like jumping or grabbing things off the floor we don't want to see, we're going to follow through with the training equipment to decrease those behaviors. So that is everything. We're going to watch Raven do her commands. So have fun and stay consistent.
down, you're good, good, down, down, 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 free, good girl.
Let's go over the other features of the remote. We already know how to turn it on. Now let's go over how to turn it off. On and off buttons for the collar is going to be the red dots. Again, we're going to touch them together. The red light means that the collar is off. For the remote on and off button on the back, we're just going to push and hold until the screen goes blank. So that way you know that both the collar and the remote are off. Now let's go over the other buttons on the remote. So we've already gone over the black S button. That is just going to be the level that you see on the screen. Now let's go over the red S button. The red S is going to be for emergency cases only. This is going to be whenever she is doing something dangerous that is going to be causing her harm, like chasing a car or going somewhere that we're not going to be able to get her back. So whenever she is in that high adrenaline state of mind, 20 only reaches about here, which is what her black S button is. And whenever she is in that high adrenaline state of mind, she is up here. So whenever we press this red S button, it is going to jump her level from 20 to 40. So that way if she does do something dangerous, we still have a way to communicate with her because level 20 only reaches here. Her adrenaline's up here. So whenever we hit that red S button, it's going to match her adrenaline whenever she is doing something dangerous. So that way we can still communicate with her and get her back to us if we need to. So the red S button is going to be for emergency cases only whenever she is not responding to our commands. The other side, there is a T button. This is going to be a vibrate feature. We really use this to make sure that the collar is on and working, but whenever Raven gets further into her training, in like 6 or so months, we can use this as kind of like a reminder. Say she doesn't really need the stim, but she's doing something that we're like, hey, knock it off. We can use the vibrate feature just to be like, hey, knock it off. We don't want to see that. That's going to be further in her training if we use it. On the back of the remote, we have an M/C button. At the beginning of her training, we use the M, or we use continuous, which is the C, at a very low level to introduce the collar to her in a positive way. And then when we get further into her training, we switch over to M, which is momentary, at a little bit of a higher level. And then on the back of the remote, there's the on and off button. This also works as a flashlight. If we click it once, it's going to be a flash. If we click it twice, it's going to be a steady flashlight. If we click it that third time, it is going to turn the flashlight off. So that way, if you let her out at night, you can still see her and what she is doing. So say level 20 is not working for Raven, it's not enough, or you see that she is just having too much of a reaction to it, we can change this level. So we're just going to hold down on the dial until the 1D at the top of the screen starts flashing, and then we can rotate this to whatever number we want. But level 20 is working great, so I'm going to lock it in at level 20. How we do that is just get it back to 20, hold down on the dial until the 1D stops flashing. This is so if we put it in our pocket, there's no way we can accidentally change her level on accident. On the back of the remote, there's also a charging port. Both the collar and the remote are rechargeable. They stay charged for about 2 days, so if she wears it for about 12 to 14-hour days, you should be able to charge it every other day and be fine. And it comes with a dual charger, so you can charge them at the same time. Raven doesn't have too long of hair, and I've noticed that the prongs have been making good contact, but if you notice that they aren't making good contacts, it does come with longer prongs, so if you have an issue with it not making good contact, you can change those over. It comes with a tool to change them over and everything. At the bottom of the box is a manual, so if you have any other questions about the remote, you can go through that and figure it out if you need to. Both the collar and the remote are waterproof, so if they get wet, not a big deal. If she's going to stay wet for a continuous period of time, I would say rotate the collar so that way it's not irritating one side of her neck, because whenever she's wet, it's going to rub a little bit more and it could cause some irritation. So I would just rotate it around so that we're not irritating one part of the neck too much. Then it does come with a 2-year warranty, so if you have any issues, you can contact the company and hopefully get a replacement or get something figured out. So that is all of the other features of the remote. So have fun and stay consistent.